Alright, it's your new buddy Mike Messier. July 23rd, 2017. And interesting, just the last 5 or 6 days, I guess I'm somewhat new. I mean, I'm from Rhode Island, so we're always a little behind apparently. But this Mandela Effect, which apparently is a idea that on July 23rd, 1991, Nelson Mandela died in prison. According to some people, they remember that very vividly. They remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in 1991, and that there was a big social movement with Oprah Winfrey, among others, leading celebrities wearing the prison numbers of Nelson Mandela. I don't remember that. I remember Nelson Mandela living, getting out of prison eventually after all those years of being in prison, victim of apartheid, a political victim, and actually being elected president of South Africa, I believe, and if I get that right. And he was a big political mover and shaker, and a big deal. And but if you really think about it, it's like if you really think about it, it's what from a kind of cynical or cryptic or just the world of being what it is would make more sense logically. A guy dying in prison or a guy getting out of prison and becoming the president of the very country that he was a political prisoner of. And the obvious answer for anyone logically is it makes more sense that he was, died in prison. But he didn't. At least I don't remember him dying in prison. I remember him becoming the president of South Africa. So that was the whole Mandela effect. And then little things, but big things too, because the little things, pro wrestling as a fan, Kurt Hennig, Henning, and I was just telling a friend of mine the other day, or a couple of weeks ago, before I really became a Mandela Effect aficionado or whatever or studier, is that I remember Henning, Kurt Hennig, and I remember the late '90s when he wrestled in the NWO, WCW. He was Hennig, Henneg, and I always hated that. And I thought it was a copyright issue between the two different wrestling groups, the WWF at the time, now WWE, and NWO. I'm like, WCW, I'm like, well, I guess they had to change his name in order for the copyright or something. I didn't think much about it. And then there was another thing, Woo, WHOOO, several O's. I always remember signs and posters in the magazines for pro wrestling read Woo, Ric Flair. But now they never say H. It's always just WOOO. Now, these little pop culture things are pretty frivolous, but what's a big thing? I saw in one of the comments on YouTube, someone said, I remember Warner Wolf dying. Who's Warner Wolf? For those of you who don't know, Warner Wolf was in the Washington, D.C. area, a sports broadcaster, the nightly news, I believe on the CBS affiliate, Channel 9, if I got that right, or maybe it might have been ABC, Channel 7, but I think it was CBS, Channel 9, and I believe it was another sportscaster, Glenn Herzog, that passed away, and this other guy, Warner Wolf, came in, like early to mid 90s, 93, 92, 95, something like that. Warner Wolf came in, they made a big deal about it. Oh, Warner Wolf's back, and I didn't know who the hell this guy was. And he was pushing 60 or something at the time, or whatever. He looked that way, or 50. And Warner Wolf was only around for a couple of years. Then he died. So he died, and he was the guy that replaced the guy that just recently died, Glenn Herzog. That's what I remember, specifically in the Beltway. This is Northern Virginia area outside of D.C. And I remember it was a big deal. I mean, for a couple of days, it was just like, hey, everyone liked the guy, and then he died, and that was it. And I remember reading, my father told me, I remember reading the obituary in the paper, and just one person on one of I can't find it now, on one of the many Mandela Effect video comments, it says, Werner Herzog died. I remember it. But now if you look on YouTube or anywhere else online, you see tons of Werner Herzog stuff, and he's in his 70s, he's 79 years old. He still looks pretty good, and look, as far as I'm concerned, he can live all he wants. Good for him. But I remember that Werner Herzog died. I remember that. I'm not Werner Herzog. That's the filmmaker. Warner Wolf, for crying out loud. So everything I just said about Werner Herzog is wrong. I meant to say Werner Wolf, for crying out loud. All right, so I was born on December 5th, and Walt Disney is said to be born on December 5th. Another pro wrestler, Larry Zbyszko, was born on December 5th. But most importantly, to this conversation, Mandela was dead or died, passed away, whatever you want to call it nicely, on December 5th. So this Mandela effect also kind of triggers a little something in your buddy Mike Messier of December 5th is my birthday, and that's the day of the Mandela effect. You know, so, and for those that don't know me, which is most people probably watching this at this point, M-Life Theory, Multitude Life Theory, Mike Messier, Multitude Life Theory. You can find it on my website, M-Life, Mike Messier. Living in the Past, Present, Eternal, and Future. I kind of came up with that in late 94, or 90, or 90, I don't even know what year it is, because it's 2 in the morning, it's 1:37. And I wanted to make a video about Mandela Effect to honor, for what it's worth, the anniversary of Mandela Effect. I don't know. I'm sure other people are going to do this, but I want to do it too. And the M-Life, the Multitude Life, is a theory that I wrote. It's different. It's more individual-based than society-based. And it's a piece that I've written in a fiction piece, Distance from Avalon, which is my epic story of intrigue. So yeah, I'm a writer, I'm a filmmaker, and for me, and I was explaining to someone, a medical person the other day, that this type of thing, now we're living in paranormal world. And I said just bluntly, and I know how to provoke people too. I said, hey, look, if we're living in a reality that Donald Trump is the president, who are you to tell me anything? You know what I mean? Like, if you like him or you don't like him, it's just so outlandish or out there that he would be president. That who's to say what the fuck is what at this point? So the Mandela Effect, I've only known about this for 5 or 6 days. I guess it really picked up steam in 2016. I'm kind of catching up to the game a little bit. I'm not a fucking Facebook guy. Oh yeah, this is it. My theory, if you want to get to the heart of it. So here's your big goddamn theory. Mike Messier states, I feel that some of this Mandela Effect, I think it's worth looking into. Is some of these things a bait and switch? A look at this, but over here is what's really happening. Like when guys do the 3 shell game, it's often look at this shell because the ball's under the other shell. And I do feel that part of Mandela Effect, some of this, like for instance, Rodin sculpture, I remember that. I've been to Philadelphia for that facsimile. I believe some of this stuff might be engineered photos of social media engineers, YouTube, whatever the fuck, Google links, social media of all types. What can we get away with smirking Mona Lisas? What can we get people to buy into that we've changed? Maybe they've changed things, maybe they haven't. But if I go on the computer and I think, oh, the Mona Lisa's changed her smile, or the Rodin's changed his fist, and I'm not actually going to go and drive in my car to go see these things. I'm going to go find the Mona Lisa real portrait. I'm going to buy it because what we're doing now is we're accepting that what's online is the final be-all, end-all truth of reality. We're accepting that these Mandela effects, because it looks different online, it is different in real life. We accept that now because that's easier. And once we're hooked into believing that the internet presentation of reality is reality, then we've lost. So just keep that in mind as you do your Mandela Effect studying. I know that some people have Bibles, some people have pieces of art, the Shazam movie, whatever they have in their possession. But also remember that if you're seeing something on the internet, it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. Wikipedia, anybody can put stuff on Wikipedia. Anybody can make a video. Anybody can do anything. Truth, where this really gets dangerous, as we know, or maybe we don't, is that truth, it's not supposed to be debatable. But now we get into this fucking zone where if your reality and my reality, and I'm a Mandela person and you're not, and you live in this frequency. Some of this stuff I haven't studied. I haven't gotten to that level of probably people watching this. But my opinion is be careful that we don't become too subjective or allow for too much subjectivity. Will I live in OJ as innocent world? Will I live in OJ as guilty world? I live in Trump as president world. I live in Hillary as president world. We all have to just agree to live on this fucking earth. And we can say, well, it doesn't matter if we, recycle bottles because we're going to have another earth. You can play that game. And this can be the giant asterisk to get out of anything. I want to do a crime because Mandela Effect says I didn't do the crime. In my reality, I'm innocent. In my reality, JFK is still president. And he's Jimmy Carter. And fucking, Rush Limbaugh and Jim Morrison are the same guy. We can all have our own little reality games. But in a court of law, be careful because we all have to abide by the goddamn law. We can't kill people. We can't hurt people. We can't lie and cheat and steal and all be Eddie Guerrero in a wrestling match. Okay? So that's my opinion. I do remember Warner Wolf dying. I do remember the sculpture like this, the Rodin. I do remember Mona Lisa with a straight ahead smile. The Fruit Loops thing and stuff like that. All that pop culture stuff. What sticks out for me is really Rodin and the other one, the Mona Lisa. I remember them totally different than they are now. And once again, Mike Messier, you look me up, born on December 5th. So it's interesting to me on a personal level that Mandela died on December 5th, and that's my birthday, in Walt Disney, but you can look up Mike Messier, all types of videos, The Nature of the Flame, my short film, and then yada, yada, yada. The Nature of the Flame, you probably like Marriage is Bliss, and I'm just going to sign off. Distance from Avalon, my book I wrote about M-Life theory, my stage play, my screenplay. Hopefully some of these art pieces will get made, because this M-Life theory, like I said, it's not the same as, Mandela Effect, but you're welcome to look at it, and thank you whoever's watched this. July 23rd, 2017. Hopefully we all get through this year in one piece, because it's a wild ride that we're all on in this hemisphere, whatever you want to call it. Mike Messier.